This is like socially enforced heavily, and it's been enforced for generations and generations. So it's like ingrained into the female psyche that we think that our highest gratification in life, or our highest sorts of happiness in life, will come from a man. And so if you believe that your highest source of happiness in life will come from a man, or a man can give you the world, or he can give you the life you deserve, implicitly you are also signing up for the exact opposite. If a man can give you the highest form of happiness that you can ever have in this life, the highest form of validation, of love, then he can also, since you're giving that power to him, he can also deprive you of it. He also has the power to give you the most misery, the most hatred, the most abuse, the most torture, the most neglect. If he can give you all these things, I know people are going to listen to this, so I don't want to be yelling at people, because this is a really hard thing to wrap our minds around. You are giving your power, your emotions, you're giving that power to a man. If someone has the ability to affect you on such a deep level, in this case, a relationship, if we believe that relationships are going to just make our life complete, and we don't believe that we make our lives complete, or that it's an entire, things our interests can include making our life complete. It's an entire ecosystem of things that end up making our life complete. But if we believe that a relationship or male validation will finally complete us, or be the crowning factor of our lives, or whether our lives are meaningful or happy or not, without that, our lives will feel like they ain't shit. And then, as girls grow up, we take, as children, we were so happy to just play with our friends. We were so happy to play with dolls. We were so happy to go out in nature and see flowers and eat our favorite foods and play dress up and run around at recess and paint and color and play sports and what else do we like to do? Watch movies, all kinds of stuff. All those things made us so happy. As we get older, we start being conditioned very heavily to think that all that stuff is child's play. It doesn't matter. It's inconsequential. And then we start thinking that now what is going to make your life good is if you have a relationship. So if you don't have one, then suddenly everything in your life that once made you happy, you're not allowed to think that that's going to fulfill you anymore. You have to find fulfillment in a relationship, even though as children, a lot of us didn't even find fulfillment in our relationship with our opposite sex parent. A lot of us had really shitty, I'm talking about women in particular, a lot of us had really shitty fathers. A lot of our parents were always either at work, they were deadbeats, our parents had a tumultuous relationship. We couldn't even find male validation in our own father. Yet as children, we could fill our time with all kinds of other things, all our hobbies and our friends and going to our grandparents' house. And we didn't place our entire life on whether our father was validating us or whether we were the center of his attention. But it's I think we just get trained. We just get trained as we grow up. And it's like it's seen as like a sign of social inclusion, or like there's like social hierarchies that both sexes have to follow in order to be seen as like in the in crowd, or like be seen as popular or socially celebrated. Like for men, it is usually having a job that has a lot of money, having a lot of money, being good at sports, being muscular, and whatever the fuck else standards there are for what male shit is. For women, it is ridiculous beauty standards, but primarily it is distorting our entire life around being in a relationship and having the perfect relationship. So if we don't have those things, we will feel ostracized from society. We'll feel like we don't fit in with society. I forget how heavy this, like, I feel like it's this way for both sexes. It's, if you don't have a relationship, the perfect relationship, if you don't have a relationship that makes you happy, it's like we just give our power away. I feel like we have to give something, anything in our lives, we have to give it permission to affect our moods. To the extent that it does. Like I said earlier, I don't know how well I explained it, but it's like you have to like agree that my relationship status will impact my moods on a drastic level. And if I have it and it's going well, I'm going to be ecstatic and it's going to be like total bliss. And if I don't have it, I also give it permission to impact me in an equal level in the opposite way, aka my life will be total despair. I feel like I mentioned this like months ago. I'm thinking about it again, how like also, I don't know how other societies are, but in American society, this world, like our whole society is set up for pair bonding, like going on dates, doing things one-on-one with the opposite sex. They want you to move out at an early age, like in your 20s, with a significant other in your fucking 20s. And then I feel like it's an entire consumerism agenda as well, because the dating industry, there's so much money in it. If nobody was dating, no one was going out to these restaurants, nobody was celebrating Valentine's Day, nobody gave a fuck about impressing other people with their looks or the car that they drive. If there wasn't like social pressure, like your place in the social hierarchy is directly impacted by your relationship status and who you're dating and whether they're seen as like acceptable or not. There's just like, there's so much, it's an industry, it's a business. And it gets marketed to you all the time too. I feel like also, just like brands will market you certain products, we get marketed morality systems as well. We get marketed social values. Like if you don't wear this brand of shoes, then you're a fucking loser. If you don't drive this kind of car, you're a loser. If you don't abide by these social customs, then you're fucking crazy, and you're weird and a loser. I don't even know where I was going with all of this. I've just been thinking about it today. Where was I going with this? Oh yeah, I was thinking today about, like, when I'm not paying attention to this, it's so easy to get sucked into these mindsets because it's literally all around me. Almost everyone around me operates in this, like, centering romantic love and, like, giving this idea of romantic love or how men treat us. They give it so much power. If you did the same stuff that you did as a kid, like, I feel like you could feel just as much, if not more, happiness by doing the same stuff you did as a kid. Like, for me, I like drawing. If I would just get back into drawing and spend my money on, like, cool new art supplies, I feel like I'd feel a pretty consistent amount of happiness and gratification. But unfortunately, I'm not good human capital. I'm not good for other people to use. I'm not good to be like a pawn in this whole dating game and all this shit if I'm just, like, focusing on painting. So nobody's going to encourage me to paint, but everyone's going to encourage me to start dating and put all my value and emotional well-being on my relationship status, because other people will benefit from it. So that's what they're going to push me to do. When you get involved in the dating pool, other people can benefit from you in many ways, not to mention it's about sex. People will hope I get pregnant. People will hope I have kids, and I'll contribute to society in new ways. And then I'll have more kids, which are more head counts in the workforce. And then society makes money off of me more. So they don't want me in my room, not talking to anyone. They want me out there dating. Also, anyone who's jealous of me being young and single and not giving a fuck about the things that destroyed their life, they want me to go date. They want me to go date somebody who's gonna fuck me up so I can be like them. If you never heard, I think about that one philosopher, I don't know exactly what he said. He said, like, if you never heard that love existed, or, what did he say? He said, how many people would fall in love if they had never heard that there was such a thing? Like, if you didn't know that this concept of romantic love and the perfect relationship, if you didn't even know there was such thing as a relationship, you wouldn't even strive for it because you wouldn't even fucking know what it is. It's like an idea that we have. I don't feel like I have like, I don't have any intention of getting married. I've seen how much it's destroyed women in other generations, and it's like it's used to cater to men. I have no intention of being a male caretaker. I don't even cook. I only cook for myself and my dogs. I won't cook for a man. I don't want to have kids. But I feel like also a lot of women, they do these things and they don't want to do it. A lot of women are fucking miserable in their roles as mothers and wives and housemakers and shit, and they're mentally ill. A lot of women don't even want to do it, but what they do it out of fear of backlash. They don't want to be seen as an outcast or a black sheep, or they don't want to be shamed by their families for not taking on these roles. They're doing it out of fear of social rejection. They're doing it out of fear of punishment. So they follow tradition and ruin their lives and have their lives ruined for them, all at the benefit of their husbands who ain't shit, who aren't real men. And they do it just out of fear. Also because back in the day, men could beat their wives and abuse of women was seen as normal and even like encouraged, and it's fetishized still. They can't do that anymore without the cops being called. But a lot of women, I feel like a lot of relationships are still like that because people are too scared to stand up for themselves. Also, I think about how this is like a tradition passed down from our ancestors. How many women took on this perfect wife, the Madonna whore, the mother, the maid, the slave, the sex blow-up doll, and they tried to do these things to the best of their ability, not because they wanted to, but because their husband would come home and beat them, because it's out of fear now. Like, I think about women like my grandmother were so mentally ill. My mother is mentally ill because my father was physically abusive until we started calling the cops on him when I was in grade school. A lot of women don't want to take on these roles. They're doing it. I feel like it is generational terror that is trapped in the mind, and it gets passed down from generation to generation of women. Just like an epigenetics, trauma is passed down, and you can feel, you'll start feeling all kinds of weird ways, and it's because one of your ancestors experienced a situation, and that emotional memory is passed down to you. I feel like that's why we take on like the attitudes and the personalities of some people in the older generation. It's probably because you're feeling the emotions, the impact of the experiences that they went through. But yeah, I was saying that a lot of us are just following tradition. I don't know. I can be honest, I don't know any married couple who's actually happy. It's all for show. I talk to some married people, few and far between, because I'm not married, so I'm not like, it's hard to like really connect with people who are living a lifestyle that I'm not. But when I talk to married people, honestly, I feel like a lot of them are mentally ill. And they do it out of fear of breaking tradition, out of fear of what will happen if they say no. I don't regret my choice to not have children and to not get married and not participate in this. Like, my stance on dating and romance now is that I don't know what it is, but I know that I started like expressing it when I was pissed off and I was unhappy, and men are acting in ways that hurt me, and I express it. It's seen as so taboo. It's seen as so unacceptable. But it's better for me. It's better for me to be honest. I don't give a damn. As far as romance is concerned, I don't know if I believe in romantic love. I know that a lot of men, if they see a naive young woman or a desperate woman who has been treated so badly in her life that she is like a hopeless romantic because she needs to believe in that in order to keep going, that it's out there somewhere, they will exploit it. A lot of men, ultimately, they just want sex, or they want a caretaker. They want a mommy maid nurse because they can't fend for themselves. They don't want to take care of themselves. A lot of men will use romance as a way to like love bomb a woman and like temporarily fill that void and like give her a bunch of validation because they want sex or they want something from her. It's not for romance sake itself. I feel like this is what I'm starting to do. If I crave romance or I crave beauty or like something like that, I want to give it to myself. One, because I think I have better taste than most men out there. And I feel like I could do it better myself, honestly. Because I do love beauty. I do love aesthetics and like flowers and like all that stuff. But I know with myself, it's not going to have some kind of agenda behind it. Relationships will make you miserable. They can make you so fucking miserable. I think what it is that during sex we're so bonded with the other person, like on a physical level. It's like, apart from being in your mother's womb, I feel like having sex is one of the most physically intimate experiences you can have with someone, and temporarily it's taking up all your attention. And it's like you feel so close to them, and there's an oxytocin release, and like there's all these neurochemicals being released. So we're always chasing that high, and then we start thinking that our entire relationships are supposed to give us some kind of euphoric feeling of like togetherness and all this stuff. I don't know. I started my new job 2 weeks ago, and I have some clients who, like, as soon as I walk in the door and they meet me for the first time, within 5 minutes they're like, oh, are you married? Are you dating anyone? Do you have any kids? Oh, you haven't found someone yet? Oh, you'll find the right one. You'll get married one day. Yeah, I know you'll get married one day. One of my clients with dementia is like, I know that you'll get married one day. Like, it's just like expected. It's expected that women would do that. And I don't tell them I don't tell them that I have no intention of ever getting married or having kids, and that I like have I went through this entire deep thought process about it, and then I made my choices. Like, I'm living this way is like, and I don't tell them all that. I just tell them, oh no, I'm not married yet. No, I'm not seeing anyone right now, even though I have no intention of doing that shit. Today, I don't know what sign the moon is in or like what the transits are going on that makes me think about this stuff today, but today I was feeling like old stuff, like how disempowered I used to feel, and how at the mercy of how I used to feel so at the mercy of how a man was treating me. And all of it felt like a lot of it was coming up today, and for a minute it felt like I was re-experiencing it and reliving it. And then I just realized I'm like letting it pass and getting it out of my system. So like when something's coming up in your system, like to be released, when it's right at the surface, it's going to feel like you're re-experiencing it. It's going to feel like that's your reality. Like it's happening all over again. Because it's right at the surface being released. And then a lot of this stuff felt like it was being released today. I'm so happy that the times have changed. Like, the way that my grandmother lived under the control of men all the time, ooh, that must have been miserable. That must have been so miserable. The way my mother lives, it is miserable. The way a lot of women that I know live is miserable. The way that I was living for a while, because it's like, this is role modeled to me. So of course I was like following in the footsteps, because it's the path of least resistance. It requires the least effort, the least thought, because someone else has already done it before me. I was miserable. I was having existential crises every day. I was in physical pain. I was like spiritual states I was tapping into. Ooh, it's just terrible. And when you're making the same choices as other women, you're like conglomerated with them, because your energy is so on the same wavelength. So you start, if your homegirl's going through something, like she's being treated and she's badly treated and devalued by a man, and she's merged with this social, societal tradition of how things tend to go for women in relationships, and how women place all their value on whether they're in a relationship or not, then if you're doing the same stuff as her, you're gonna feel it like it's happening to you, because you're in the same wavelength. And so it's just like amplifying it. Like the quickest way to detach your energy from someone else's is to do something that they can't do, or that they are not doing, and then you're on a different wavelength. Oh, I just had to talk about this because I was in my room today because I'm not working, and I was just getting in such a fucking bad mood. I was in just, it just felt like I was sizzling. I was just like stewing and all this shit. I just like, I had to get it out of my system. I had to get it out of my head. And then I remembered, I decided I'm never getting married and I'm never having kids. So I'm already saving myself from a lot of this. Yeah.